The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan are one of New York's largest independently owned insurance agencies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, I should say.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, no, and we have one resident, George Winters here. Regular town board meeting is July 15th, 2019, and the time is 7:01 p.m. Would you all please rise and join Councilman Anthony Medevere in saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, so we don't have any public hearings. We have 15 resolutions. And so what I do is work with Rose in introducing you to the 15 resolutions and briefly describing them. And then if any member of the public has any questions on any of the resolutions, I'll give them an opportunity to do so. If you have another town topic that's not related to the resolutions, please hold that till later in the meeting, and I'll give you an opportunity to ask those other town issues, whether they're questions or comments or thoughts. You're welcome to any of the above, and that'll be later in the meeting, and you'll have a 4-minute opportunity to express yourself on that matter. All right, so let's do our resolutions first. 2.1, please. Rose?
It's a resolution authorizing an extension of up to 5 days for payment of real property taxes.
Okay. Now, whereas section 925-B of the New York Real Property Tax Law provides a municipal corporation may, by resolution, adopted prior to levy of such taxes, authorize an extension of no more than 5 business days for the payment of taxes on real property without interest or penalty for any resident who has received an exemption under Real Property Tax Law, Section 425, Subdivision 4, and or Section 467, a senior citizen exemption, and who is 65 years old of age or older. And whereas the town's receiver of taxes and assessments has recommended that the town board authorize for residents aged 65 or older who have a senior citizen exemption, such an exemption of not more than 5 business days for payments of real property taxes, as she believes that allowance of such an extension for payment would benefit such taxpayers. And be it resolved to the town board, if they approve this, that for taxes on real property levied after the date of adoption of this resolution, the Queensbury Town Board hereby authorizes its receiver of taxes and assessments to accept payments from town residents aged 65 or older who have received an exemption pursuant to Subdivision 4 of Section 425 or Section 467 of the New York State Real Property Tax Law, of real property taxes, special ad valorem levies, and special assessments for the town, county, school tax collection, not more than 5 business days after such dates such taxes would otherwise be due, without penalty or interest. And this would resolve this, and then we send certified copies of this to the Commissioner of the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance, Warren County Treasurer's Office, Queensbury Union Free School District, Lake George School District, Hudson Falls Central School District.
And just, I don't know if it was, everyone would be clear, it's not only the senior exemption, but it's also the enhanced star. That's the other code section. So it's those both people.
I read what was there.
Yes.
Okay. All right, resolution 2.2.
Resolution authorizing increase in buy-in rates for town of Queensbury properties located outside of current town of Queensbury sanitary sewer districts.
Okay, now this is pertaining to people or properties that are located outside of the town of Queensbury's current sanitary sewer districts, wishing to connect to the town's sanitary sewer mains, that is, contract users, must pay the town a one-time buy-in fee. That rate currently is $1.15 per gallon, and we're suggesting, or our wastewater director is suggesting to the town board that it should be $1.32 per gallon. There's extra costs associated with wastewater, and he thinks that is pertinent. So this talks to raising it from $1.15 to $1.32 per gallon buy-in cost. Resolution 2.3.
Resolution authorizing renewal of ARC GIS desktop software maintenance contract with ESRI Inc.
All right. Now, when you go online, you use Property Locator and you use the map services and so forth, we always had kind of a problem with some of the people out there using some of the map services. This is an upgrade, and this makes it a whole lot friendly user. So this is not only a renewal of the software that we use to enable the public to see our maps and other things. This has upgrades to it. So we were paying $8,282. I wanted the town board to know that. This is a slight increase to $11,100, but this is with a new user-friendlier format. So not only is it renewing, but it's renewing it with upgrades, okay? Resolution 2.4.
Resolution authorizing dedication of lands and warranty deed with lien covenant and right-of-way easement from Queensbury Land Conservancy, Inc. for Ogden Road Cemetery.
All right, in the Queensbury Land Conservancy property, it used to be the Faith Bible Church properties that were donated to the Conservancy, which were donated to the Queensbury Land Conservancy, and they maintain a trail system there. In the midst of that woods, you wouldn't expect it, but there's a small cemetery. It's a small family cemetery. We do know that some of the Ogdens are buried there, and it's an old cemetery. Some of them show a death of dying in the early 1800s, and they're buried there. So the Queensbury Land Conservancy would like to donate that property and the easement to get to that property so that we can properly maintain it, which there isn't going to be much maintaining it. I think we would like to put up a nice wrought iron fence. But this is to approve all that. So the Conservancy has agreed to this easement and to giving up this land for the small cemetery. There's probably less than 10 people buried there. We don't know the exact number, but it's this very small area. And so this is just approving all that. Resolution 2.5.
Resolution authorizing hiring of Jordan Brown as account clerk in wastewater department.
Okay, account clerk in the wastewater department, Jordan Brown. The wastewater director, Chris Harrington, advertised for such position, reviewed resumes, interviewed interested candidates from the existing Warren County Civil Service list for the position, and has recommended that the town board authorize the hiring of Jordan Brown. Now, Jordan Brown is related to another employee in the town. She is the wife of water meter service worker Heath Brown. So this will be subject to everything else. They have to do the pre-employment physical, the background checks, and so forth. That's resolution 2.5. Resolution 2.6.
Resolution consenting to discontinuance of a portion of Big Boom Road and authorizing sale of discontinued property.
Okay. Back when Mr. Stannis had one of our favorite Mexican restaurants, Carl R's, it was brought to the attention of everybody that the parking area on the east side of Carl R's was town property. And at that time, Mr. DeSantis expressed an interest in purchasing it. We had it assessed and appraised at that time, which was only 4 or 5 years ago. And it wasn't a whole lot of money. And in any event, was what,
27,800.
27,800. Thank you, Tony. So he never did follow through on the purchase of that property, and we have no real use for it. And so people were parking there who used Carl R's. And now Saratoga Hospital has bought the property, Carl R's, that is, and they would like to locate a medical center there. And they would like to buy the property that we were going to sell to DeSantis. And so we decided, yeah, we'll sell it. We have no need for it. Highway Superintendent David Dool came up and assessed the situation as to what his needs were for future protection of all the roads and the curbing and everything else. And so we had surveyors draw up all this. It took a rather lengthy process. Bob Hafner worked with me on this, and Saratoga Hospital people. And so we decided that we would sell our property, discontinuing it, and sell it for the appraised value to Saratoga Hospital so that they can do their thing there. All right, 2.7.
Resolution authorizing donation of sick time to an employee employed in the town highway department.
All right, an employee employed in the town of Queensbury's highway department has been diagnosed with a serious health issue. And the employee is expected to exhaust all paid leave available to that sick employee, including all their sick leave. Certain fellow employees have expressed a desire to donate a portion of their accumulated sick time to the employee to assist him during his illness. They can do so if this town board approves that, and that's what this resolution intends to do. Resolution 2.8.
Resolution authorizing support of Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District's MS4 stormwater grant application regarding stormwater runoff on Windcrest Drive.
Okay. What Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District is, and they are the outfit that help us manage our MS4 program. They would like to do something with the stormwater runoff that is coming off of Windcrest Drive onto Country Club and the ditches on the on both sides of Country Club Road, but especially the ones on the west side of Country Club Road. They would try and like to mitigate some of that stormwater and the flooding that occurs there. And they would like to use the median strip to create a green stormwater infrastructure system. And another one's one that'll be serving a function. There might be, plants that, would thrive with a water situation, such as in a retention basin where water would be deposited and collected rather than run on Country Club Road. So this is, it's kind of a grant. The only thing they're asking for us is a match of approximately $1,500 in value, which would not be difficult for us to achieve because some of our highway people will be involved in helping them produce it. So, okay, that's resolution 2.8. If it gets approved, Warren County Soil and Water can go ahead. We'll work with them on doing some of this green infrastructure on Windcrest Drive. 2.9.
Resolution to amend 2019 budget.
All right, just the shifting of where it wasn't needed to where it is needed. 210,
Resolution authorizing emergency medical services study, establishment of EMS study capital project fund number 230, and engagement of CGR.
okay. This board, specifically more so Jennifer and I, have worked with the 3 EMS squads and representatives of the 3 EMS squads here in the town of Queensbury. We put together an efficiency management committee, an EMS efficiency management committee, and we decided that it would be nice to hire an independent outside entity, person or corporation or whatever, to help us assess our EMS situation here at the town. Now, it's pretty good, and I got to thank the volunteers who are involved in this, but could it be better? Well, certainly. So we put out an RFP asking us to help us out with assessing our EMS situation here and see if we can come up with efficiencies and improvements. You know, it'd be nice to have the same kind of service and reduce the costs. That would be nice. All right. Well, those and other things. So we reviewed the 5 proposals and we agreed that CGR was the best proposal. And Jennifer, we did suggest that the original price was a little bit high, and there's some things that we didn't need. We didn't need them to develop the website. There was some, reaching out to some people that we didn't think need to be reached out to at this time. So they did reduce the cost to $59.9 for doing this, and so that's what you hoped. And so we are there. So I hope the board's happy with this. I think we will be happy with the CGR. Let me give you a little taste of what they're proposing. CGR approaches each project as an opportunity to learn about the individual communities we work with. Our goal is to assist you in developing a thorough understanding of your current situation and identifying realistic opportunities to improve the services in Queensbury. We have outlined our project approach in response to the needs identified in the RFP and look forward to refining the plan in coordination with the town and the 3 local EMS agencies. Phase 1, they're going to be interviewing fact-finding. Phase 2, they're going to develop like a baseline report. And they're going to do a survey. And they're going to do an analysis of the current EMS system, which would include the following tasks: develop a profile of EMS agencies, conduct an evaluation of jurisdictions, gather, and I'm summarizing this, it's more than that. Gather and evaluate response data for the town. We will look at response rate, EMD code, call receive time, units responding, units on scene, transport destination, total time on task, and other data points as established. We will conduct a high-level overview of the financial situation for the agencies using publicly available information. And this information will be synthesized into a report that documents the existing conditions of the EMS system and operations using objective measurements, graphics, geographic representations, written findings, interactive web-based data visualizations, and a combination of formats will enable stakeholders to understand the current operating environment and inform the development of options for improvement. Key information will be compared to available industry standards and relevant community benchmarks in areas related to response times, drop calls, staffing, levels of care, 911 call processing times, and dispatching procedures. Phase 3, and I'm summarizing, there's much more here, but I'm just giving you an idea. Phase 3 is identify options for improvement. The third phase of the project will focus on developing recommendations for the town and EMS agencies to consider to improve their EMS response time. And it goes on. Other options will be identified and discussed. Phase 4 will be to develop a final report. and that will be presented at a public meeting for the purposes of listening and hearing the public, what you like, what you don't like. Okay? Phase 5 is optional. That is, if we see the need for ongoing support from this organization or another, they will try and include that. All right, the timetable, I'd like to get this done in, say, the next 6 months. 211,
Resolution setting public hearing on proposed local law to establish a temporary moratorium on installation of ground-mounted solar energy systems.
all right, Catherine Atherton, Councilwoman Atherton put this forward, and with the argument that we need time to take a look at our ground-mounted solar energy systems, ground-mounted solar, and assess what we're doing and what we should be doing. Is that accurate?
Yes, there's no code right now to handle it.
All right, so it's give us time to adopt a code. Resolution 212.
Resolution approving audit of bills warrant of July 16th, 2019.
Okay, so this is a date of July 11th and a payment date of July 16th with a total of $964,709.52. Resolution 213.
Resolution authorizing advertisement of bids for sale of obsolete equipment.
All right, and this goes to Gov Deals. We have a card filing cabinet, a desk, a 2008 Trailblazer, and a 2002 Scrassifier.
What is that?
I don't know. Anybody know?
Great.
Whatever it was, you'll be able to buy it in Gov Deals.
Okay.
214.
Resolution authorizing license agreement for temporary use of Gurney Lane Recreation Area.
All right, Under the Woods Foundation, and that is the Underwoods, host an annual mountain bike race at Gurney Lane Park known as the Cherney-Gurney Mountain Bike Race. And every year this has grown exponentially. It started off with like 45 participants, then jumped up to like 100, and then it's just huge growth. And it's talked all over the Northeast. If you go there on the day or the weekend of the races, you'll see license plates from all over. And so, and the foundation of the Common Roots Brewing Company have agreed that Common Roots will provide the beer and oversee it to the sales to the public, but that's not the real reason why everyone goes to this. It's really the mountain bike race, although that's a little extra. So if we approve it, it will happen. Last resolution, 215.
Resolution authorizing acceptance of proposal and engagement of the Chazen Companies for professional services as clerk of the works for the new highway garage project.
All right, we're looking at clerk of the works for the town highway building to make sure it's built right. The low bidder and firm that we're familiar with already, so that worked out well, was and for $99,500. They would make sure that the new highway garage project is built appropriately and well. So we will not have problems that other municipalities who didn't hire a clerk of the works ran it. I won't mention any names. Okay, those are the 15 resolutions before us tonight. If anybody, member of the public, wishes to speak to any of those resolutions, please indicate your interest in doing so. Yes, sir.
George Winters, 4 John Clennon Road in Queensbury. 410. After we spend this money, do the rescue squads have to, they just look at it and say they like it or they don't? Or?
Well, George, let's keep in mind, they were part of what developed this. They had representatives from all 3 squads who helped develop the RFP. Jennifer and I held the meeting, and we went through and typed out what the RFP would want. In other words, all 3 squads had input into this request for proposal that you see the product of today.
Yeah.
They've all been involved. They were involved in assessing which of the proposals they preferred. Not many of them showed up at the meeting, but nevertheless, they had the opportunity to do that. And So this outfit was the one, and they did Essex County. And so I called up Essex County, and they were very happy with the product of this company and what they came up with, they used. And the efficiencies and what they recommend, we certainly are going to look at them as to, are they going to improve the situation here in the town? Are they, not that it's a horrible situation, it's not, but are they going to offer things that might be, allow for efficiencies and allow for reduction of costs? We're certainly not going to let this sit on the shelf gathering dust.
Oh, so they've
been involved in this, yeah.
Yeah, I know they've been involved in it, but are they? You could spend all this money, and they say, well, we don't like it, so.
Well,
You don't see that happening, I guess. Is what
I don't, because they were part of the process.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. So sometimes people go along with the process, and then they don't like the end result. So.
Well, the end result usually happens if I force it on you. This is what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Rather than, George, what do you think is a good idea for us to do? And you gave me your opinion, and we pursued it.
Yeah.
Then that's
Okay.
what we did here.
I guess that was my question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, seeing no other questions, any roll call votes?
Yes, can you pull 2-6?
2-6 for roll call. Any other roll call votes?
No, but I can tell you what a scarifier is.
Oh, what is it?
It's not a spray fire, it's a scarifier. It's a lawn thatcher.
It's a what?
Lawn thatcher.
A lawn thatcher.
Yep.
Why don't they just say lawn
That's
thatcher?
what Thatcher just said.
I don't know, John.
But it's not, it's actually spelled wrong on the resolution.
It's a scare.
Scarifier.
It's a scare.
Oh, I would have known that. Oh, okay. All right, so let's do the roll call resolution first. 2.6, which is resolution consenting to discontinuance of portion of Big Boom Road and authorizing the sale of discontinuance property. Would you do a roll call vote for us, Rose, please?
I'll introduce.
Introduced by Councilman Medevere, seconded by Councilwoman Atherton. A roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Atherton.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Medevere.
Yes.
Atherton.
Yes.
Barone.
I abstain.
Switzer.
Yes.
And Stroud.
Recuse myself. Yeah.
Stroud.
Yes. All right, resolution passes.
Can I just jump in? Because a part of that resolution was to have authorize the consent to be signed by the town board. When you pass the resolution, if at least the 4 of you who voted yes would sign it and get it back to us, we can continue moving on with that project. If you want to recuse, you can.
Is to
The statute
maintain-
requires at least 3.
George and I talked about this, and I did the same thing I'm on the SUNY Board of Trustees. When it comes to the budget for Warren County, I recuse myself because even though we're not making any money, as a matter of fact, it costs us money to be on these boards, we want to just take the absolute whatever is necessary to show our independency in our decision-making process. So George, that's why he does the recuse, that's why I did the recuse. Anybody else who was on a board where you're coming up with a financial matter, it's probably technically not against the law to go and vote on this because you're not making any personal financial gain from this. But nevertheless, it's probably the best thing to do. It's the safest thing to do to recuse on this, and thank you for doing that. Okay, so how about the other resolutions? I can't do 2 things at once. The other resolutions, 2.1 through 2.5 and 2.7 through 2.15. Would anybody like to put those forward for approval?
So moved.
A move by Councilman Brown, seconded by
Seconded.
Councilwoman Atherton. A roll call vote on the remaining resolutions, please, Rose.
Councilperson Atherton.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Switzer. Yes. Stroud.
Yeah.
And Medevere.
Yes.
Okay, all resolutions passed unanimously. Any correspondence, Rose?
No correspondence.
No correspondence. Privilege of the floor. This is an opportunity for members of the public to talk about any town issue they wish to talk about, and you have 4 minutes to do so. I know some people keep referring to 3, but this board gives you an extra amount of time. Anybody? George?
George Winters, 4 John Clinton Road, Queensbury. The light on Aviation Road at the school, and you're gonna get the second one working.
Yes,
Are they gonna be shut off in the summertime at 9:30? And
there's no reason to shut them off.
you go up there at 10 o'clock at night and there's nothing going on at school, and you gotta stop for a red light.
It should be. The new lights are based on signals that are buried into the pavement that read a vehicle when it's over it. There's 2 or 3 sensors on all approaching roads. In other words, that light stays green until it's triggered to do otherwise. So it will stay green on Aviation Road unless you have a car that approaches, and then it will have to wait its turn, if it's gonna take a left-hand turn, for the light to change.
Because I was gonna say, Saturday night I went up through there, probably 11:15,
Yeah,
and it was working.
all right, with that I can check into. I'm just telling you how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, okay.
And,
I didn't know whether.
yeah, I'll check into that, George.
Yeah.
You know, maybe something got set funny, but we'll set it back to the way it's supposed to. The way I just explained it is the way it's supposed to operate.
Okay, because I know that was a big problem before. A lot of people complained about it.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of people complain.
Yeah,
A lot of times.
right.
But I really haven't gotten any complaints since we put the new light in.
Yeah,
Oh.
I haven't either.
No.
So,
I drive up and down that road like you do.
Yeah.
And, it usually works the way John just explained. If there's a car comes up to the light, like from the school side, the light will turn red within a couple of minutes.
Okay,
I'll
so
have it double checked though, George.
yeah, and then one other thing I had was your speed signs. And have they been in the town?
We've got them in, we've processed them, and Dave Duel's on vacation this week.
Yeah.
But when he gets back, we're gonna start installing those. Yes, they have a solar mounted thing. They'll be on a pole. It'll tell you how fast you're going. If it's too fast, it's gonna read you're going too fast.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a speed sign on there too, so that you know how fast you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
And if you're going too fast, and you've probably seen them, they're effective.
Yeah.
Because almost everybody goes down and loosens their speedometer, especially after it says too fast.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
well, according to George, who did some research on this, it does slow down the drivers.
Yeah.
It does have a positive effect on them.
Another thing, John, I just wanted to tell you that I would have brought you a shirt, a Trump shirt,
Yeah.
but they didn't have no bigger sizes. You know?
I
That-
lost
that's
weight.
just a funny
I'm
job.
I'm down to just a regular men's large now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's just a funny. Thank you.
I can wear it to the next Democrat meeting. All right, thank you, George. All right, seeing no one else for privilege of the board, town board discussions, let's start with you this time, Tony.
So, I don't know how long ago it was, a few months ago, I lectured everybody on the fact that you're not locking your car doors. So, people apparently listened and started locking their car doors, and then the thieves started breaking windows. So, the problem now, my lecture for the day is, women especially, I'm not picking on you, but you carry purses and you're leaving them on the front seat. And these thieves are working in pairs, and they watch you go into wherever you're going, and they keep an eye out for you, and then the other one goes, breaks the window, smash and grab, takes your purse and takes off. Unfortunately, it happened on a few town properties, and it's unfortunate, but my lecture of the day is don't leave your purse on the front seat. Put it in the trunk, take it with you, don't take it at all. But thanks for locking your car doors. I'm just sorry that it unfortunately ended up in broken windows. But typically your auto insurance would cover the window, homeowner's insurance will cover the contents that you lose out of your purse. But of course, when you lose your license and credit cards, that's just a pain in the ass. So put your purses in the trunk, or don't leave valuables, computers, phones, things on your front seat, on your dashboard, because these guys are ambitious now, and they're actually have mechanisms to break windows and take your stuff. So let's step this up a little bit and make it more difficult for them to win. What's that?
Fine.
it's ludicrous. I just don't understand why people continue to behave the way they do, but it's very unfortunate. Had another big fire in the town this past weekend. I saw the smoke as it started. I went to it, and of course the fire department doesn't let me through, which is fine. They contained it pretty quickly, but the house was a total loss. And again, you know, while everybody's doing their thing on a Sunday afternoon up the lake or at the park, or whatever, these firemen are, you know, serving their town with zero pay. And you know, just next time you see one of them, just give them a thank you, because they're out fighting fires on a Sunday afternoon when everybody else is enjoying the beautiful weather. So very unfortunate. Went by the residents today. It is a total loss. And you know, older home, went up quick. They got it out quick, but it just wasn't quick enough. So, but again, thanks to our fire department for doing a great job.
Okay, well, thank you.
That's it.
Catherine?
I think I just want to say that our recent changes that we did to code regarding stormwater reduction was a result of concerned citizens approaching the board. And just to say how important that is, and that grassroots can really have an impact on the community. Just wanted to make that. It's really important that folks come forward if they've got issues.
Most everything we've passed in the last few years has been
Because of
grassroots
that.
efforts.
Yeah.
Everything. Dundas Bay,
Property.
the property transfer law. I mean, it all has been grassroots. Rockers, yeah.
It's all important.
So it is, and it goes to show that the town board is willing to listen and work with these folks.
Yeah, and that the public can have an impact.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. George?
Unfortunately, I have nothing tonight.
Thank you. Jennifer?
I just have one. It's a little ahead of schedule, but just to give people enough time, the Family Service Association of Glens Falls every year has a Feet First program, and basically helps provide new shoes for any child who is enrolled in school. And if you are interested in trying to help your own child out or someone that you know, the registration starts on August 12th. So you need to contact the Family Service Association directly, and they can be reached at 518-793-0797. It's a great program. They reach all over the area. And again, if you need assistance this fall with getting shoes for your child, go ahead and give them a call.
That's a worthy cause.
Yep. You don't think much of it, but
Yeah.
it's
That's
a
a great
huge,
cause.
Shoes
yeah,
are a big deal.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's all
Thank
I
you.
have.
All right, well, first of all, this town board and this town appreciates the Fund for Lake George's Irving Langmuir Award, which we received at their annual meeting, for excellence in development and stewardship presented to the town of Queensbury in recognition of your dedication to protecting Lake George through adoption of low-impact development practices, including substantial stream corridor and shoreline buffer requirements, July 6, 2019. Lake George Waterkeeper and the Fund for Lake George. We very much appreciate receiving this award. I think this town board works very hard in that direction, so it's great that we receive this recognition for our efforts. Thank you, the Fund for Lake George. Also, that's not the only thing. The Fund for Lake George gave us, which I have to put the resolution for, saying we're going to accept it, $25,000 for the establishment of the Rockhurst Community Septic System, which, as Kathleen pointed out, I don't know if we're going to have all our ducks in a row to make the July 26th deadline for the certified application process. But we didn't anticipate being there this year anyways. That didn't make the paper, but we anticipated more of doing it next year anyways. Putting all those ducks in a row and trying to get it in was hopeful, optimistic. It doesn't look likely at this point. But we'll have more ducks in a row for next year, and we're going to have $25,000 thanks to the Fund for Lake George. Eric Sy and Kristen Fitzke especially, I want to thank them and the board for the Fund for Lake George. Also, besides this heavy granite, whatever it is, granite plaque, did you try it?
I haven't. Oh, it is that.
Yeah. Besides that, $30,000 is going to the town for the purpose of septic system upgrades in the North Queensbury wastewater disposal district. Because they form a district, they're enabled, we can accept grants for them. And that's the case, $30,000 for septic system upgrades in the Dundas Bay area. So this year's Lake George Fund annual meeting was a wonderful meeting, not just because we got the award and we got grant money for doing great things for Lake George, so that we plan on continuing those efforts, but because of the speakers and so forth at that fund meeting were absolutely enlightening, entertaining, and worthwhile listening to. I want to thank Fund for Lake George for doing that. Okay.
John, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you have to be a district in order to accept grant money?
They won't give it to you unless you are a district.
The question was raised just the other day by somebody in Glen Lake, why they're not getting any money, and I didn't have an answer.
Well, they have an invasive aquatic plant management district.
Okay.
And they do get grant money. They get $25,000 a year. I help them get through the county.
For invasive stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's the district they are.
Okay. So if they wanted a storm water management district, they'd have to.
And when we help them out through that, the Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District helps us get grant funding for doing stormwater projects around.
Not stormwater, but wastewater, excuse me.
Wastewaters, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
I did not know that.
nothing, yeah. Well, one of the things we want to put together, and I mentioned this before, is a comprehensive, integrated management plan for the Glen Lake environment. A total picture, which includes stormwater, wastewater, invasive plants, managing even native plants, and the whole shebang. So I think they're finally getting underway to get that around. I've been trying to urge them, and I drew up an outline for them and so forth, and so they're underway. I think we'll get there.
Okay.
The other thing that came up was there was a resident who asked us to consider bringing town water to Lake Sunnyside. So our water superintendent, wastewater director, Chris Harrington, said there already was. CT Mal did a study for Glen Lakes, Lake Sunnyside, and Jackson. All right. This is 1999. Since we're focusing on Lake Sunnyside. Estimated project cost, okay, in 1999, $1,942,324. Average cost per household is $1,011 per year. That doesn't include O&M. That's the capital cost for installation based on the bond rate. And George and I were doing a little research before the meeting. I didn't find it out. I think it was a 20-year bond, but I gotta verify that. So in other words, after 20 years, that would go away, and you just have the regular maintenance of your water system once the bond payment is made. But until you got the bond paid, you're looking at, and this is 1999 time. So Chris Harrington came in one day, and I said, okay, what is it in today's? So we went online, we did a Google, and we took a look at the construction index of 1999 to today, and it appeared to us, in what we're seeing in the indexes, for this type of construction, it appeared to at least double. It appeared to be at least double. Now, this is us just doing a Google search, and Chris Harrington is an engineer, and he said, yeah, that's probably about right. So if that's about right, then it'd be around $4 million for project cost to bring water to Sunnyside Lake, and it would cost the average home closer to $2,000 per year for the capital costs. And then you'd have maybe 160 in O&M, but the water is not expensive. But the capital cost, until that bond's paid for, and I'm assuming this is a 20-year bond, would be almost $2,000 a year. So, knowing that, is that something that Lake Sunnyside people want to burden to go ahead with bringing water to them? If it is, then we'll get underway. But I think that once you mention $2,000 a year to a lot of the Lake Sunnyside people, I think they're going to say, okay, maybe the well's looking better.
You need state comptroller approval for that much.
Yeah.
That exceeds the threshold by a lot.
Yeah. Well, and that would be a big hurdle too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the number of houses? Was it 40 something or 80 something on Sunnyside?
The average what?
No,
The number of houses.
Oh, what did I read? I mean, George and I were just going through 100 and... All right, I got the report in my office.
I was just going on the wastewater, or the,
They have the number of units for 1999. I don't think that's changed significantly.
There's a breakdown, seasonal versus all year.
Yeah, yeah. So if you come in back to my office, or Kathleen, you're interested, I can give you the 1999 report. But I don't think the number of residences has changed around Lake Sunnyside that much. Okay. All right. So what else do I have? I got this publication, and I've only got one copy. And maybe members of the community or members of the board would like to share this amongst yourselves.
We all got one.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll share it with the public. It is titled The Adirondack Park in Rural America. Did you get the one that's updated? Yeah, with the sheet in it? Mm-hmm. Oh, you all got one. All right, so this is the economic and population trends in the Adirondack Park, and it includes communities that were partly in the park, like Queensbury, Lake Wizard, and so forth. Yeah, the top 1/3 of Queensbury is in the Adirondack Park. And actually West Mountain abuts the Adirondack Park. This is economic and population trends, 1970 to 2010. All right, so some interesting information. Okay, I just wanted FYI. Also, on Wednesday, July 10th, I went to the Warren County Water Quality Strategy Committee meeting. And so we took a tour of stormwater techniques that are helping to improve the quality of stormwater before they run into our major water bodies. Halfway Brook, Glen Lake, what have you. And so we did a tour of the Gurney Lane Park area where they have done several of these. And there was an article, I think, in today or yesterday's Post-Star on this topic. We went down into Glens Falls and see some of the things they're doing there. And so it was a very nice tour. We got a letter here to our Highway Superintendent, Dave Dool, from the Warren County Board of Elections Commissioners, Bill Van Asten and Beth McLaughlin. Please accept our sincere thank you for the assistance you provided to our staff during the delivery and retrieving of the voting machines during the 2019 primary election, and the assistance of your crew, working foreman Peter Smith and MEO Jeff Dunbar provided throughout Queensbury and other locations was essential and deeply appreciated. This is a prime example of intermunicipal cooperation of a county agency and a local town agency, saving our taxpayers money. So that was nice of them to set that out. And then a couple nice articles from the Post-Star I saved. recognizing that Fund for Lake George recognition for our environmental efforts. And let me see if there's anything else in the report of the community and board that I haven't mentioned already. Oh, Catherine and I went to the Broad Acres area to assess sidewalks and the difficulties that would probably be involved in establishing sidewalks. We saw some real need, and that was a low picking fruit of putting crosswalks on. I told George Hilton, he was wondering if we're satisfied with the summary that we put together, and I said, I'm going to talk to Catherine tonight, but I think she's going to ask you to take those little blocks and maybe show where the crosswalks and sidewalks might be located. Oh, you didn't do Sherman. All right, so anyhow. Okay.
I will do that.
We did a site visit at the Golden Goal in the town of Fort Anne. But I think we came away with, we were pretty impressed with the magnitude of the site. Thousands, how many did you say will attend?
200.
200 for the season, but any one event could be like 6,000 people.
This past weekend was supposed to be 6,000.
And we were there were buses with teams coming in, and there's places for them to stay and so forth down there.
Lacrosse. That was
for the lacrosse. Yeah. But there obviously with 6,000 players and their families, there's people that need hotels. And so they use a variety of Queensbury hotels, and they're trying to make the argument that, listen, even though we're in Fort Anne, we're big. And we do help Queensbury, and they go to Queensbury restaurants, and they go and shop at Queensbury, and they use Queensbury hotels because Queensbury is the closest to Fort Anne. And so I guess they have some evidence of that, and we said next time in the next round, show us some of the data.
Don't ask for personnel.
That's right. That was a mistake.
So, all right. And then I did a site visit with Dave Duell at the Dubkowski residence up on 8 Trails End, up on Northwest Road, where there's some washout. Now, we'll have an analysis of this. My suspicion is the origination of this water is not the town. And sometimes residents say, well, it's a problem. And don't towns solve our problems? Isn't that what you're there for? We're there to solve your problems if we created it. Okay? But we can't go around and solve everyone's neighborhood problem. Now, that's not to say, I'm not going to forget about this. We're going to do an analysis of this. And we're going to see, because part of the washout did include the town road up there. So we will see what we can do. We will work with adjacent landowners and see if we can develop a better stormwater flow where it doesn't hinder this particular individual, and maybe others are harmed by it too. So we didn't forget, the key, keep in mind, we're not there to solve everyone's problems. Sometimes there's just a lot of rain. All right. All right, what else is there? Oh, and Mayor Hall called today, and he said that, EPA was there to assess their landfill over there on Luzerne Road. That's Glens Falls' landfill. Our landfill was over on Ridgeville. And I said, yeah, the same EPA people were there to assess our landfill. So he says, well, do you want to work together? And maybe working together, we might be able to develop a solar program for both these landfills. And I said, knowing the members of my board, I think they'd be open to that. I don't want to speak for them, but knowing them, I think they'd be open to that. So count us in on any future discussions you may have on that matter. So he said, good, what I'd like to hear. All right, so that's it for me, guys. Anything else for the good of the order? All right. Well, thank you, Bob Hafner, for representing us, town council here, and Rose Mellon for the town clerk office, and town board, and member of the community, and Kathleen Moore and Joel Barlow from TV8, Look TV, I should say. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, especially Stored Tech. All right, anything else for the good of the order?
Yes, sir.
All right, Kathleen, you'll be home in time. It'll still be daylight.
Story out.
All right. Oh, town board members. All the LED lights are installed on Main Street and $1 Million Mile. Rise Engineering would like us to view them. Are we happy with the product? Are they all working like they should? Please report to them so that I can tell Barbara Jeremy to pay the bill. So if you get a chance tonight, tomorrow night, or very soon to go up and take a look at the lights, 2 things to look for. Remember, we went with a lower wattage, and we went with a little bit, we had 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000 lumen. That's the whiteness of the light. We decided to go in the middle. It's usually recommended that you use 5,000 for commercial zones and 3,000 for residential. Well, we went in the middle. So we went with a lower wattage. We went with a fair lumen rating, not a high, not a low, in the middle. And let's see how that works. Because if we're going to do the rest of the street lights in the town, we should get a handle on what we like and what we think is appropriate and so forth. And so, to the public too, we'll get some feedback from them. All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Switzer, seconded by Councilwoman Atherton. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan are one of New York's largest independently owned insurance agencies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.